Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Let's take another look here at Bitcoin. 90,500 to this point, broke solidly through that 90K resistance, swept, I'm sure, a majority of local liquidation here, but more importantly, has broken its 88,500 resistance, potential retest of that level before the next leg up. I was expecting 85,500 to be retested before it legged up, but it just took off. This is absolutely awesome, even though we probably have to consider closing our short at a loss. That's okay. I'm okay with that, considering the rest of my bags are very happy and healthy, and we took some nice profits on, what was it, our double check here, XRP and Solana trades here. So not the worst thing ever. But what we want to look at is back in liquidation data and kind of see what's going on, where we're at here with the this upper liquidation range. I mean, there was a lot between 90 and 92K. So if we take a look here, we're just going to go straight to the macro here and give you some perspective. We can see about 91.4 is that little shelf there. So there's still a pocket between 92 and 93,000. Those are low leverage short positions, likely opened sometime yesterday or last night. Similar to ours, for example, we have a low leverage short open right now, and it's not in jeopardy of getting liquidated because our stop loss is tremendously closer, and it's still not in that range. So what I'm getting at here is if you have that trade open, we want to see if today closes above 90,000 or not. Typically, invalidation occurs when the price action closes above a key level resistance or support, depending on the direction it's heading. So if you're part of my community and you saw the trade alert here from yesterday with Bitcoin, the concept again is to close if we get a one-day candlestick closure above 90,000. That's invalidation for you, okay? So that's kind of what we're looking at. So all that aside here, what else do we see that's kind of stark and kind of important to recognize? Well, we got late shorts about 93,000, so I think 93K would be a worse or better case depending on which side of the tracks you're on, okay? So that's more likely to see, we may see that here shortly, but the overall sentiment here is that liquidation delta shot from 15 billion to 25 billion in just the last couple of hours. So typically, in most cases, 15 billion is kind of like that average point in which the price action typically turns around, unless we see manipulation. And that's actually the caveat that I mentioned in my trade alert. Unless we see heavy manipulation from Bitcoin, we're safe on that short. And truth is, we got a lot of it right now. So this is actually good manipulation. It's the kind that we'd like to see to the upside in most cases. So I'm not complaining whatsoever. It's a very positive. But the overall sense here is that, is this a pump and dump or is it going to stick? We kind of got to let the time kind of tell us here, right? We can't just instantly be like, oh, okay, we're over 90K, we're just going to take a long now. That's not best practice, and that's usually what most people do and they get destroyed doing it. Now, this could be very much a different scenario for us, okay? This is likely a fundamental type of scenario here where all the market makers got together, like, well, screw it, we're just going to pump the price now, and everyone's going to wish they had FOMO'd in the 80K range. So at that point, let's just double check here. We got our local points of control, basically open interest areas, are 87,000 to 88,000. So if the price does end up pulling back, a solid consideration for closing a short potentially early, or if you're considering a short now, would be a target of 87, 88K. That's kind of where we see the most amount of volume, right? We don't see a tremendous amount of volume here. There's a little bit at like 90,200, but that's not really too much there. So for the most part, majority of volume is down here at the base of roughly 88,000 to 87, okay? Now when we look at the daily time frame, we want to recognize a few important things here. And I mentioned this previously too as well in the last 3 or 4 analysis. Ever since Saturday on, the overall sentiment here has shifted bullish. Now we weren't massively bullish yesterday. We were trending towards it because we are still under the 200-day SMA. So we close above 88,500 today, tomorrow, this week, then we're going to be in a position where we're in much better shape to consider longs and to make sure that we, kind of recognize that we're more likely to go up than down because we've shifted momentum. We're above most of these moving averages, or all of them rather, and then we can see that we are trending towards 70 in the RSI with money flow index now above the price action, or above the RSI rather. Those are all extremely favorable signs, okay? So this is definitely a bullish scenario. So the simple takeaway here is that it's probably going to be unsafe to consider a short here moving forward until we see any type of divergence, which is way too early to tell, okay? So try not to get too ahead of yourself. I'm not telling you just to open a bunch of longs, but I think statistically at this point, you're going to find more favorability going up than down. What's interesting about this is Bitcoin dominance still continues to rise and altcoins are increasing. What's going to happen when Bitcoin dominance pulls back? I think altcoins are due to surge here in the relative near future. And that's generally a positive sign. But the overall sense here is that we're over every single moving average. 4-hour time frame is going to give us like tremendous amount of reasons why you don't want to short. And we take a look here, we're over 70 in the RSI now. Until it comes back down, there's no reason to consider securing profits on your long and or opening a short in light of that. Okay, so this is generally one of those breakout type of situations where you do want to respect it because there's a lot of volume and there's a lot of reasons why the price is likely not to pull back because there's just so much of it, such a large injection of volume into the market right now that the odds of it pulling back dramatically are pretty low. So if you are in a short position, it may be recommended to consider closing closer to the $90,000 range because we may not come back down below that point for a little while. That's what the charts are telling us, okay? I'm not just telling you this because I'm excited, I'm feeling good for a day, and my bags are a little healthier today than they were yesterday. It's mainly because of what we're seeing on the charts, okay? And you typically want to respect that. Lately, we've seen a tremendous amount of manipulation, and this feels like reverse manipulation in a lot of ways to trap people into late long. So I do want to urge some caution and being careful in just not getting too crazy with positions here. Secure some profits while you can if you are in profit today, and maybe just consider waiting for the market to relax a little bit and then consider some longs, because if I'm going to consider a long position, I want to wait and see what today's candlestick closes at. All right, if we close at 90K or higher, it might be a good sign to continue taking some longs here with some altcoins. Between now and then, what are your thoughts? Why don't you comment below? Like the video if you haven't yet already. You should be doing that every single time. Folks, we have less than 5% average of people liking the videos versus watching and or commenting. That is really ridiculously low and very unfortunate. So do me a favor, always do that every single time. I appreciate you if you have been doing that as well. Have yourself a great rest of the day. Look forward to seeing the next one. If you do want to join us over on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, I've got a lot of good content flowing through there as well. Additional stuff you may not see on YouTube. All right, have a good rest of the day. Look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.